We're live, Younes. Are we? Yes, we are.
Are we?
Yes, people.
Are we?
Welcome to Man Knows
Nice.
Football. We are back, as you can see. A little bit of ring rust there. I wasn't sure if we were live or not. You lot remember the old days when I first started using OBS, how much of a shit show it was. And Younes was present for most of that banter. So big up Younes. You get me? But yeah, man, we are here. It's good to have Younes back on the platform. I've had a lot of you in the DMs and in the comments. Where's Younes? You two have got to get your collab going. Well, we're here, people. We are here. Yeah, in tragic Chelsea circumstances, we are here. Big up everyone that's in the chat. Yeah, we're already seeing some people's preferences between Nagelsmann and Pochettino. Man said, look at Pice's news. Do you know who I've got? I've got Darko. I've got Agent D. Nobody comes quicker than him. I already knew this stuff. Yeah, Agent D never fails, blood. You get me? But yo, Younes, how you doing, my bro?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Well, yeah, personally, I'm good. Everything's nice, cushy. And yeah, good to be back on. Just Chelsea though. The pain, the absolute pain. I don't know if are we still in mourning or have we moved past that defeat against Madrid? We're already looking forward. Is the season forgotten?
I'm numb, mate. I am completely numb.
That is it. Yeah, dead inside, isn't it? There's just no emotions. Dead.
Oh, yeah. For me, the season was shot to death when I saw the lineup for Chelsea, Real Madrid. It was shot to pieces, bruv. I didn't even...
Yeah.
Do you know what? I had the pleasure, for the first time I'll probably ever say this, of being at work. So I didn't even get to watch the game. And do you know what? I was like, I don't even care. My boss is a Chelsea fan as well. You see, people that make right decisions in the workplace, man, just makes life easier at work. You get me? But...
It's true.
He was just like, I'm not even bothered. Usually I would just go and do my thing and watch the game, but I'm just not doing it today. Yeah, don't know what Lampard was thinking with that lineup. This man put Kante and Gallagher as part of the attack and only Kai Havertz as the natural attacker.
It didn't make any sense. Although the way we approached the game, right, the way that we actually started off, bless you,
Thank you.
was, you could say it worked. Right, but if he had executed that same instruction or system with the correct personnel and had a little bit more guts and a little less respect for Real Madrid because we had nothing to lose, I felt we possibly could have done something. We possibly in that first half, but yeah, man, that lineup was a that was a calamity, man.
Now here's the thing. I know we're going back talking about the game, but I just ain't spoken to you about it, so we'll just talk for a couple of minutes about it. But you see the Kante opportunity. Yeah, we'll talk about that first one.
Yeah.
I was livid at Kante at first because that was my emotions. Like, how are you missing that? You get me, all of this. But then when I sat
and then
down
you remembered who it was.
I was like, well, he shouldn't be there in the first place.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, like, it shouldn't really be his chance for him to miss. So then I was like, I can't really blame him. And then the chance that fell to Cucurella. Now, my only regret, and this is not even Lamps'
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's not Lamps' fault. It's not Cucurella's fault. Ben Chilwell. Why, oh, why did you have to do that in the last game, in the first leg? Because if that was you, I know you would have put your foot straight through that, man. Like a bullet train, cuz. That would have gone in the back of the net. Ain't no Tebow or Carvajal or whoever on that line. That's going in.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, even people are going, if we had Marcos Alonso, that's getting buried. And it's true. It's true. Although, look, I mean, yeah, if Chilwell hadn't got sent off, I mean, I'm sure the game would have ended up being different altogether. You know, the sequence of events would have changed for sure. But no, look, even with Kante and his miss, right? Absolutely. If there's others that are there that are attackers, you'd think that there's a higher chance of scoring. Albeit the other side of the argument, which I do hear, and it's relevant because it's Chelsea, is our attackers haven't been able to score either. So,
yeah, it's true.
It's really hard it's easy to think, you know what, Kante shouldn't be there. If that was Felix or even Mason Mount or someone, right, of an attacking nature that's there, you'd think that's going in the bottom corner. But when we have played all of the other guys, we still haven't scored. So it's actually, this is the problem with Chelsea. We actually don't know what to think or what direction to go in. Everything's just a mess. Everything's just a mess. It's mad. It's absolutely mad.
Listen, to me, this is one thing that I'm fighting in my brain about. Frank Lampard. And it's gone beyond the point of him being a manager. Now it's just his career going forward.
Oh, for real.
Has it occurred to him that after Chelsea Football Club, he might want to apply for a managerial position? And the reason why I ask you this question, Younes, is because I didn't think decisions could get any worse than Graham Potter. This guy, is he doing this effortlessly?
I agree. I didn't expect this, and look, we all, everyone's heard what we had to say about Graham Potter and how we felt about Graham Potter, but I can't help but think that yes, I still think we would have lost, but we probably would have had a higher chance with Potter than with with Lamps against Real Madrid. I can't believe I'm saying that, but it's absolutely incredible, man. I didn't think it'd get worse, but there you are. Lampard's career going forward is in deep trouble. As a manager, who's going to take him? Who's actually going to take him?
I cannot see any sane Premier League club hiring this man as manager.
Oh, bro, you know what's mad? Potter left. I've told the others this as well. I'm sure many people know this. This is common knowledge. But Potter left with a 38% win percentage, which is catastrophic, right? 38%. I mean, that's on borderline with Ian Porterfield from the early mid-90s. Lampard might leave with 0. He actually could leave with 0. At best, we pick up a win against Nottingham Forest.
I'm not even confident with that, bro.
No, exactly. Like he could actually leave with 0%.
Bro, I don't see us, and this, I don't say this to troll, or I say this with a heavy heart, fam. I don't see us getting 3 points anywhere between now and the end of the season.
I agree, and especially now without any motivation whatsoever. It's dead. The season's finished. Like, you know, we're just looking over our shoulder to hope no one catches us, which they might, and they probably will. Maybe a couple of teams, I think, will. I predict we'll finish 14th or somewhere around there. We won't get relegated, I don't think. Although mathematically it's still possible, but I don't see it happening. This is the thing. That's all that's left. So now the players are just playing just for the sake of playing.
Yeah, listen, the season's over for me, man. It's like I said to you. When I saw that lineup against Real Madrid, I said, yeah, that's it. We're out. It's just done. It's finished. But I felt that anyway, regardless of the lineup. And no disrespect to the managers, just I don't trust this guy's capabilities at all. I mean, Carlo Ancelotti versus Lampard is a huge mismatch. Do you know what I mean? It's hard enough going against the 11 that's on the pitch from Real Madrid, but to add that extra mastermind against someone who's clueless, bro, it was just never going to work, bro. Anyone else from the outside looking in, if it was any other manager that had no affiliation to Chelsea, you would have legitimately thought this is a sabotage, 100%. Yeah, this is either Antonio Conte looking to get sacked in his 20 million payout, or I don't know what's going on here, bro, because it was actually that bad. But before we move on to the main topic, Younes, I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
If you had an inkling that Frank Lampard was going to take the helm as interim manager after Graham Potter got sacked, would you have kept Graham Potter or would you have continued with Frank Lampard?
Actually mad, isn't it? That question, because I'd say no to both. Flipping hell, man. No, we got to be honest. Like, especially now in hindsight, we got to be honest. You'd keep Potter.
150%. I had no doubt in my mind that I would have rather kept Potter.
Which I don't want that to turn into, let's say, a contradiction to what I said before. I think sacking him was correct. Yeah. I think even if it meant getting an interim, it's correct. But not this. Not this. No, I didn't see this coming. It was only the day before it was made official that we started hearing Lampard. And I'm thinking, what? You know? And then everyone started jumping on the vibe. Oh, club legend. Yeah, no, Lamps get to see Super Frank again. And I'm just like, nah, I'm not feeling this. I'm not feeling this. It's funny, I got criticised for that. Like, no, come on, lighten up. Season's gone to pot. At least we're going to get something. No, we're not.
We're not getting nothing, mate. Yeah, you lot had no
clearly
idea.
You know, but again, look, the original mistake was getting rid of Tuchel in the first place, I feel. But if yeah, we look at Potter. I still think that was the correct decision to get rid. He shouldn't have got the job in the first place. But yeah, if you had told me once when we had Potter that if we get rid of him, we're getting Lampard, I'd be like, yo, keep Potter. Keep him in place. At least we had XG with Graham Potter. So at least we had
Bro.
XG.
Frank Lampard in his last 17 games as manager.
Oh, got 18 now.
18. Has won one game. One game as manager. And this is the guy we took as caretaker, fam.
And drew 2 or 3?
He drew 2.
Yeah. 2. There we are. So he's lost 15.
So if this picture is true, so he lost 2-1, lost 2-0, lost 1-0, lost 2-0, lost 2-1, lost 3-1, lost 4-1, drew 1-1, lost 2-1, lost 3-0, lost 4-1, lost 2-0, drew 0-0, won 3-0, lost 1-0, lost 2-0, lost 2-1.
He doesn't even lose 1-0. At least if you lost 1-0. Doesn't even lose 1-0. It's always 2-3, 2-3. Nah, man, look, it's ridiculous. And with Chelsea right now, it's 4 on the bounce. It's 4 losses, 1 goal scored, which was a deflection, and that was God helping us, and 7 conceded. 4 losses, 4 matches, 4 losses. And we've got Brentford next. We would have had Man United on the weekend, but they're playing the FA Cup. They're actually still in another competition. So, yeah.
Yeah, interesting times. But we're going to get to the main topic. But big up the people them in the chat. I want to just read out a few comments. Big up Todd Miller, always. He says, no, you keep Tuchel. So I'm assuming just during that little managerial debate between Lampard and Potter, he's saying that you don't sack Tuchel in the first place. Well, you don't sack him at the time you did. And depending how you feel, you don't sack him full stop. Do you know what I mean? Even if Lamps doesn't win a match, his overall win percentage will be better than Graham Potter's. I'm not too sure about that. You might be right, but I'm not too sure about that, bro.
At the moment, it definitely is.
Oh,
with
it
the
is?
first stint.
Yeah,
because his first stint, I
Chelsea,
think,
innit?
was what? His first stint was 48%, I think. Better than Potter.
Yeah, I guess. But we're on the topic
this might bring it down, so we'll see.
Well, since we're on the topic of managers, we obviously know the 2 candidates that are leading to become Chelsea manager, and that is Julian Nagelsmann, yeah, because I've been told off by quite a few of the people in the chat. That's not how you say Nagelsmann, it's Nagelsmann. Do you know what I mean? But it is what it is. Julian Nagelsmann and Mauricio Pochettino, yeah. 2 very interesting candidates. Now, before I even give any kind of opinion, the managerial choices for me at this point in time are underwhelming, in my honest opinion. I'm not saying that these are bad managers, but there are other managers that I would prefer ahead of these 2 managers. For example, or even Enrique, although we're not going to be going for him, thrown into that. Me personally, if the rumors were to be true, that Carlo was leaving Real Madrid, although he has a preference to go to the Brazil national team, and I don't know if they've got something agreed there, I would have.
Apparently, he could be staying. Or
he could be staying.
I agree.
Yeah, but the point is it's not a realistic option as of now. While we speak, but I would have loved for somebody like Carlo, been there, done it. Undeniable track record. First season at Real Madrid, he won 5 trophies. Do you know what I mean? People thought the class was gone after the Everton stint. I didn't believe that for a second, man. For an absolute second. Napoli and Everton, but the class is always there, bro. Carlo's always been different gravy. Now look at him. Do you know what I mean? The pressure at Real Madrid, by the way, is that high that if he probably didn't win the Champions League and he's not going to win La Liga, they would have got him out the door. So, yeah, let's see. But outside of these 2 options, though, Younes, I know you were very keen on Jose Mourinho, but were there any other candidates that you would have perhaps put ahead of Nagelsmann and Pochettino?
No, it's exactly that, bro. I agree with you. Aside from Jose, Carlo, like an elite manager that's going to come in and just take this team by the palm of their hands and just, have full control over it in every single aspect. So yeah, I would take Carlo in an instant. Absolute instant. And it's funny because Didier Drogba would do the same. He asked him when he was on French TV the other day during the game, when he spoke to Carlo in that interview. I don't know if you've seen it, but he was like, if Chelsea came after you and gave you the job, what would you change? And he's like, I've already got things that I'm thinking about now. I can't think about anything else. He just gave that sort of answer. But you can see Drogba's like thinking, this is what Chelsea need. Chelsea need this sort of guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's like, Carlo,
it's
please,
evident.
I done you favors when you was when you was our manager. Please just come back to my club, man. But yeah, Drogba.
But you know what it is? It's that caliber of manager that Chelsea need and that belongs at Chelsea. So yeah, I agree with you overall. Albeit the two names that are being touted at the moment, it's pretty evident, and yeah, depends what most people.
Oh, Younes is frozen. I'm not sure what's happened there with Younes. I'll give him a few minutes to get back. Well, let me just send him a voice note and let him know that he's frozen. He's not here, or unless he can hear me. Younes, not sure what's happened to you, my bro, but you're no longer on this stream. Yeah, so I might need you to reconnect. Peace. Okay, so here he is. He's back. He's back.
Yeah, I could hear you and see you and everything.
I don't know what happened there. The people's.
It just worked.
Okay, cool.
I got sanctioned.
You got yeah. There you go. You got sanctioned. We're getting Clear Lake are interfering with our stream. People, we apologize.
We're talking about Ancelotti and Mourinho and all them guys, and they're like, nah, cut him off,
Yep,
cut him off,
nope.
cut him off.
Yeah, they're doing too much, lads. Yeah, that's yeah. But Nagelsmann and Pochettino. Now, I'm gonna say this. I both think they're very good managers, and when I look at this squad that we have, in terms of, obviously, it's a youth. It's now a very young squad that we've got. In terms of both of them in developing youth players, they've both got a good record. Now, I want to start off with the one that I believe is probably least favourable in the fan base for several reasons, which is Mauricio Pochettino. How would you feel about him?
I'll be honest. Good coach. Good coach. Good coach in the same way Graham Potter's a good coach. Graham Potter's not a bad coach overall. Let's be honest. He's not dead, right? He's just not elite. He's just not at that level. Simple. The level below, I agree. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not at an elite club, not to take a club to success. And if we're going to go on this route of trying to get someone that's going to be here for the long run and trying to actually be successful, then that Potter's not it. For me, Poch is not it in the same way. If I had to pick between Poch and Potter, I think Poch is maybe a bit better. Mm-hmm. But overall, I get an underwhelming feeling with Poch. I just don't think. I might be wrong. Who knows? But I just don't think he's got the pedigree, the mentality overall. He had that experience at PSG. Let's be honest, couldn't really handle those egos. Didn't work well. Mate, if you can't handle those egos, you're coming into Chelsea. Good luck. Good luck. So overall, again, good coach. Will he do catastrophic? No. I think he would do okay. But and I don't think he'll go down well with the fans. Maybe not as badly as it was with Benitez. Benitez, for example, that was because Benitez actually said, crap towards Chelsea fans. But yeah, Poch, ex-Spurs, all that, nah. it won't go down well with the fans. It just won't. For me, I'll be honest, it's not much of an issue because someone's past is someone's past. They were at that club. No one in their right mind would have thought Poch would ever be up for the Chelsea job, ever. But that's the way that football works sometimes. So I don't have a problem with him being ex-Spurs. I'm just saying, it's just with the fan base, it won't go down well.
Yeah, that's a given. Now, with Poch, I personally think he's a good manager, and I personally think for what we have, look, my thing is I want to win as soon as possible. Do I think there's a guarantee with Poch coming in and winning us trophies? There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee of any manager coming in and winning trophies. But when you look at obviously previous history, you can at least, you're more comfortable when you see some silverware behind certain managers, which is why Carlo, for me, and that caliber of manager, that's my number one choice. But with Poch, now I'm having to look at, well, if it's not, if he ain't got no trophies, what does this guy have that could benefit this squad?
Poch.
What I think with him is I think he's got a good track record in terms of developing young players.
Youth. That's the point.
Another thing is with him is Pochettino, although he did struggle with one or two of the personalities in PSG, and towards the end of Tuchel's stint at PSG, apparently he suffered a little bit with them as well. So it's not as clear cut as what it's not so clear cut as one can handle them and one can't. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's as clear cut as that. I think for any manager, it would be a challenge to go somewhere at PSG, because that's a club that's just run, in my opinion, in not a good way, bruv. I'll say that in the least. It's not run in the best way. But in terms of this guy, Pochettino, I don't think he's a dickhead. I don't think he's a soft touch. I can tell that he's got a little bit of something about him, at least in comparison to what Graham Potter had. Graham Potter had nothing about him. He had no kind of authority about him.
Yeah, I agree.
Pochettino does have that bit, because to develop some of the youngsters that he did, you have to have that about you. Do you know what I mean? And when we look at getting the best out of our attackers, let's just have a look at several of the attackers that this man's developed. Forgot, he's helped with, Sadio Mane was at Southampton when he was there. Do you remember? Heung-min Son. Strikers, he's worked with Harry Kane and so on and so forth. He's worked with quite a few decent youngsters. So when I look at that and I put it in comparison to several of the players that we've got, your Mudryks, whichever striker's coming in, I'm assuming is going to be young. Do you know what I mean? So basically, from the attacking perspective, I can see us at least improving in that aspect, because he's got a track record in doing that. Now, where I would be careful with Poch is I wouldn't give him a long-term contract. I'd give him an 18-month if it was him.
Bro, off the bat, anybody coming in, 18-month deal. If you're elite, like if you were to get a car, I don't know, okay, maybe 2 years. 2-year deal. Yeah. But we're not making that same mistake again. And if they do, if we get the next manager and I hear that a 5-year deal is being given, I swear I'm flipping.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm flipping.
Exactly.
That cannot happen. Even Nagelsmann, even if it was, as I've said, any manager that I would prefer, whether even if it was Mourinho coming back, 2-year deal. 2-year deal. It's logical. That's the way that football is now, because you can't predict the future, to a T. You never know what can happen. So, with Poch, I agree, 18 months. Definitely.
But in terms of him coming in and making a difference in our attack, do you reckon? Can you see him doing that? Can you see what I'm saying from my point in terms of his track record?
Poch, I think, has been, because we have to understand this in terms of playing attacking and whatnot. Look, you have to look at why Luis Enrique wasn't given much option, and Luis Enrique is definitely more accomplished, but I genuinely think Poch has been given the green light to move over to a next stage or to be one of the final ones because of youth. Single-handedly, his opinion on youth, and I just hope, because when I look at the way that Luis Enrique got folded to the side, but Poch hasn't, and if youth is going to be a factor, I hope the ownership are not prepared to just give up or sabotage whatever chance that this team may have in the sake of bringing up youth players for the next 2, 3, 4 years. Because we can't just hang about and just do nothing and wait for players to come through.
I agree.
That's not us.
I agree.
That's not us.
Agree.
So I hope that's not their priority. I hope not. It's definitely a good factor to have. I still think it's a bit of a myth that managers just ignore youth completely. No, there's an academy there and there are players there, and overall, I just think there are managers that pay more attention to youth compared to others. Poch is probably one of those. But I hope that's not number one priority, because if that is, then it could be a long it could be a long wait for something to happen at this club.
Well, I mean, look, we need to get back to winning ways. That's a fact. But then also when we look at this squad and what we've seen this season, and obviously we haven't had our summer yet. We haven't addressed certain issues in the summer. It might be a difficult job for even an elite manager to come in and get anything out of this team if certain things are not addressed in the summer. Do you know what I mean? So for me, it's not even as cut and dry as that. Do you know what I mean? It's not so cut and dry for me. So, but outside of that, I don't know. For me, Poch wouldn't be my number one choice. Although if he did come into the team, I definitely admit there'd be improvement in the squad. I believe that there'll be some kind of sustainable pattern of football that he might develop, but can he take him to the promised land like we need him to is a different question in itself. Or could it be a thing where he inadvertently comes into Chelsea for, like suggested, the 18 months or the 2 years, like you suggested, and he builds something, he leaves the club, and somebody who's elite comes and takes over from the job that he's done in that time?
But this is the thing, we said that same point with Potter. It's like
look how that turned out.
And it's like, look, if someone who's elite doesn't need to wait for a foundation to be built, they can create the foundation themselves. They're an elite manager. They know what they're doing. They can just come in and just run the whole thing, from start to finish. This thing about get someone in to build the foundation and move on afterwards. I truly only think that can happen is if you genuinely think the guy you're getting in is going to be the man to do it all anyway. But then you work out, okay, maybe not, and he has laid some sort of a foundation. Yeah. Then you bring in someone else because you have to. That's just how it is. I think that estimation is only done in hindsight, much like we've seen at Brighton, where De Zerbi's come in and continued and taken it to new heights. Yeah. But I genuinely think the intention, for example, with Brighton was Potter's going to be the guy. Not De Zerbi. We're not going to get someone in about 3 years. Like, I don't think that's ever the calculation. It's just something that happens when results don't go your way or things happen. So, no, with us, we're not that sort of club. We should honestly be able to get someone in that's top end enough, that's going to do it from top to bottom.
Right, but then it circles back to the question: what tangible options are available to do that?
As in, just what managers to go and get?
Tangible managers are available to do that? Because me personally, the Luis Enrique thing, I ain't gonna lie, bruv. Like, the man done what he done at Barca. I get that. Do you know what I mean? With that MSN attack. But he's been out 6 years from club football. And he's been managing in international football. And for me, the eliteness I'm looking for when we speak in elite is if he's of that caliber of what we saw at Barcelona, at least try and go to your national team and win something with them. I know he's done okay with them. He ain't done terrible with them, with all the players considered. But for me, even with that, I wasn't too sure. Do you know what I mean? But that's just my opinion. That's just me. That's my opinion. But like, I would agree with you if, like, for example, there was a Pep Guardiola that was available, or even, like we said, a Carlo Ancelotti that was available. Somebody of that ilk that was available to come in, then my expectations would definitely be towards leaning to that. But the fact that we have this pool, we've only got two now. If we're speaking in the realm of realism, what's been reported, we as fans have only now got a choice of Nagelsmann and Pochettino. Do we have any track history for either of those of doing the elite things that these previous managers have done? We don't. So this is the hole we find ourselves in. But go on.
This is it. It's all based on potential, ceiling, where we think they'll go.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was, all right, we want this manager, we're gonna go get them done.
Didn't matter if
we'll go talk to the club and be like, yo, what's it gonna take to get this manager out of his contract? All right, nice one. Here you go. See you later. Personal terms done. Contract finished. Like, that's how it used to run. Now these new owners don't seem like they're the ones to be able to do that sort of thing. They genuinely just seem like they want a very long... It looks like they want to get someone in that they can build up themselves. You know what I mean? Or someone that they can just go, yeah, you know what? He started from the bottom and now we're here.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Okay, but we're gonna move on. Let's move on to Julian Nagelsmann. But I'm gonna get to the super chats first. So, BO, thank you for the super chat. We need to draw or win against Arsenal. Last hope. That would be a that would be a nice end to what would be a catastrophic season. To be honest with you, could you
Mate,
imagine?
if we draw at the Emirates, I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
It's not happening.
I would lose. I would absolutely lose my marbles if we actually. I would go mad, especially if it was a repeat of what happened against Tottenham the season Leicester won the league. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if we done that to Arsenal?
Thing is, like, look, we're gonna be trying to do that with Lampard, and it's so funny. Look, if it goes right, it's hilarious, right? It's hilarious. But if it goes wrong, the banter that's gonna come, because do you remember the Arteta versus Lampard versus Oli?
Yeah.
Look where Arteta's gone, and look where the others have gone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh mate, it'd be terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm not expecting anything at the Emirates.
Yeah, neither am I really. I just
they're fighting for the Premier League title, bruv. Like at home.
I'd love it, man. But that really and truly, that should be an incentive for us to stop them going out and winning.
It should.
We just don't have the characters or the balls to do that, do we? If we're being honest.
Exactly.
Julius, thank you for the super chat. The fact they considered Poch over Enrique is a massive red flag. You guys need to realize their vision is turning the club into a youth development team to make money. This is not Chelsea FC.
This is why I said I hope the priority isn't just bring up youth.
No,
I hope that's not the priority. You know, or they genuinely think if we go down this route, we're going to create winners, or at best we'll be able to sell them and get a lot of money. Like, I hope that's not their incentive.
What we've got to understand, and where I partially agree with Julius on this super chat, is the fact that there has to be some kind of ROI from somewhere, return on investment, and clearly some of these players that they're signing and the rate that we're signing these youth players is clearly with a return of investment in mind. We've spent 600 million, you know, between summer and January. Of course, the aim of business is to recoup that money back. You can't stay in the red for too long. You've got to recoup that bread back. Do you know what I mean? That's just how business works. And they're no different, clearly. So that's definitely in mind. I don't know, man. To me, it smells like a bit of a Borussia Dortmundish, Leipzigish kind of thing. And I'm not too keen on that, to be honest with you. So that's where I'm a little worried with the whole stocking up and piling up on youngsters, man. It just makes me question what is our long-term vision going forward.
This is it. And you know what? You made a very good point just there. It does seem like we're trying to build, AKA Red Bull model. You know, especially with Vivel there. If we're going to get Nagelsmann, and these owners are on board with what Leipzig and the Red Bull group have done and whatnot, we possibly could be going down that same route of creating what the Red Bull group have done completely.
Yeah.
And I think that's a lot of what the fear, I think, in some of the fan base is just going down that route and it doesn't work. You know? So we'll see.
Julius says Poch bottled the league to Leicester and Lille, but to be honest with you, he was never top of the table at any stage. Although, really and truly, when you look at Leicester, that's
Leicester were flying that season, and it was Leicester.
Yeah.
But it's funny because that season he was mocked for ending up finishing third in a 2-horse race, isn't it? Remember?
Yeah.
It was a 2-horse race between Leicester and Spurs somehow finished first.
But we got to remember, this man put Spurs in a title race and got them to a Champions League final. That's something that we can't brush off. You see what I mean? And that's an achievement in itself. Who was the last Tottenham manager to do that? I know
think
they
he's the
didn't
only
win
one.
anything, but who?
I think he's the only one.
That's what I mean.
He's the only one. Although, the way that Tottenham in that final, it was thrown away after 5 minutes, wasn't it? You know, so
all we talk about is developing youth now. This is Chelsea FC. We're about winning trophies, and this is why I don't trust the owner. So basically, just circling back to what we were saying, man, just questioning that whole youth philosophy. Look, there's people in the chat that are actually saying Pochettino is a better option than Julian Nagelsmann, who we're going to come on to now real quick. But what do you... Julian Nagelsmann, how do you feel about him overall?
I'll be honest. At first, I don't doubt his ability, and I don't doubt his philosophy either. Especially for his age, it's quite impressive. But at the same time, coming into Chelsea and having to deal with those sort of players, that sort of pressure, those sort of egos sometimes, that standard of mentality that's required. At 35 years old, to pull it off is flipping. Insane. That would be something. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because it's only experience that can back you up and come into a job like that and hold in your own.
Yeah.
Hence why Graham Potter got criticised, even though he's a lot older. But age is a factor. So I was honestly thinking, if he comes in, he's 35, and not saying that there's going to be players that are older than him, but I think the only one that's older than him in the squad is Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
But it's still when you're in and around the same age group, are you going to, no matter what you say or you do, are you still going to end up getting the amount of respect that you should or that you deserve? Compared to someone who is more of a older figurehead that players look at and go, okay, we have to just look up to him. The fear is that sometimes the players can just look at you on the same level. So how far can that go? That was my only doubt. If you had told me if a Nagelsmann was a little bit more accomplished, a little bit older, a little wiser, in his 40s even, I would be a lot more confident. However, over the last 48 hours, and especially after what we'd seen with Bayern Munich yesterday. Mm-hmm. Now, I understand Bayern Munich, and we spoke about this off air yesterday. I understand Bayern Munich have their issues, their instabilities at the moment. That dressing room is quite unstable with what's gone on. The Nagelsmann sacking apparently for non-footballing reasons.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden your gaffer's gone. Another one comes in, even if it's Tuchel, but he's got his own way, he's got his own system, he's got his own imprint on things. He tries to implement it fast. There's pressure of competition. There's a bust up that happens between Sane and Mane. But I can understand why performance is not up to par. But it does make you wonder. Nagelsmann had Bayern Munich scoring good amount of goals.
Yeah.
And had a good record overall.
I think he only lost 3 games all season or something like that.
This is the thing. So when you look at it from that aspect, and then you hear what he has to say, and I was digging and I went through a few of his interviews and a couple of things that he mentioned in regards to how he approaches things, what he deems important, what he likes, what he doesn't. Ironically, what he likes and what he needs in the team is exactly what Chelsea need right now.
Facts, yeah.
And, we're looking at the DM position, which he values as the key position. And personally, I completely agree with him 100%. Like, mate, a DM is an engine of a team. The way that I see it, a DM, a good, solid number 6 or defensive midfielder is the engine of any football team and brings stability. There we are. So that's good to hear. We need a striker. He values the importance of having someone up top that's going to bang in goals. Cool. We absolutely need a striker. Apparently he wants a goalkeeper. Fantastic. We need a goalkeeper, So when you look at it from that aspect, it fills me in with more confidence added on with what we saw yesterday with Bayern Munich against Manchester City. So, yeah, I feel like if Nagelsmann were to come in, I'd be like, okay, cool. Not the caliber that we want or expect, but it fills me with some sort of, let's say, I don't want to say hope. I think it's a bit more than hope. A little bit more confidence of just, you know what? Let's try. Let's go for this. You know what I mean? So
yeah. I hear you with Nagelsmann, but you see, when I look at this guy, I just look at sort of the start of his senior career. So he steps into a Hoffenheim team who are 15th place and are about to get relegated. He keeps them up. And then the following season, he gets top 4 with them. That takes some doing, bro.
Oh, with Hoffenheim?
Yeah, that takes some doing. Yeah. Then he goes over to RB Leipzig. In that season, he finishes 3rd with them and gets to a Champions League semi-final and is knocked out by Thomas Tuchel's PSG at the time. Yeah. That is impressive. I can't knock that. Do you know what I mean? Then he goes over to
Spurs along the way as well, isn't it?
yeah. Then he goes over to Bayern Munich. He does win a Bundesliga, which is, it's basically a formality, and he's got 2 Super Cups under his belt. Do you know what I mean? So he has got some success. It might be an eyebrow raiser for some. The whole Bundesliga issue is suspect to some, even to me to an extent. You know what I mean? But he has got some silverware behind him, but in comparison to the others who are multiple winners of competitions, it's no comparison still. But there is some silverware behind him, so the bottle job argument with him, can't really throw that at him just yet. He's still a bit of an unknown element, because at least with Pochettino, we know that he's managed in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? He had a whole transfer. Remember, he didn't have a transfer window and still challenged for the Prem as well. These are things that people forget. Yeah, but still, he's been there and he's won it over at Germany. That's the red flag for me.
I mean, it's funny because the Premier League, debate. Again, we go back to Graham Potter. It could be said there. He done well with Brighton. Let's be honest. He done well with Brighton, and Premier League experience is there. Came to Chelsea and it just flopped. There's a level. So this is where for both Nagelsmann and Poch, but more so Poch, you look and you think, are you at that level that's required? Chelsea's history of getting managers and them being successful has always been based on what they've done before.
Yeah.
And have you achieved success where you've been before?
Yeah.
Even if it's not been an elaborate amount of success, like massive amounts, like trophy galore, but have you done something to show that you can operate at the highest level? Everyone that's come in and done something has been able to has done that previously. Whether you look at Jose and what he done at Porto, UEFA Cup, Champions League straight after, and then came into Chelsea. Carlo Ancelotti, before he came in, was already successful with Champions Leagues and Scudettos and all of that. He was just rinsed. Antonio Conte, same could be said for him, even though that ended pretty quickly. But you could see the caliber was there. You can't say he's not elite. It's just he has his fixed way and he just doesn't move away from it. He's very stubborn. Even when you look at Mauricio Sarri, for example, what he done with Napoli, right? It was to be praised. A bit more experimental, but then he came in and still won a Europa League. Thomas Tuchel got PSG to a Champions League final, which was actually quite, seen as, wow, finally. Done what he done in France, done what he done in Germany and for Dortmund. And then he comes in and wins the Champions League. There's a certain caliber, which is why with Nagelsmann, I look at, okay, he's managed in Germany. He's done well there at all levels. Got to a semi-final of the Champions League with Leipzig, which is to be commended. His progression at 35 years old is actually quite admirable.
Yeah.
Right? Can he operate at a level where it's going to be pressure? Like now, the Chelsea job. The question is now. Yeah. Exactly. I would feel more, I'd say more confident ironically, with Nagelsmann than with Poch. Overall. Albeit Poch done what he done with Spurs, yes. But again, I just don't feel like I feel like it will fold. Eventually it will fold. With Poch at the level that Chelsea need, I don't think he'll get what Chelsea absolutely need.
Here's the other thing that we forgot to mention as well. When we look at existing relationships at Chelsea Football Club between Pochettino and Nagelsmann, it's Nagelsmann that's got the connections at the club. Because think to Christopher Vival. It's Christopher Vival's suggestion. They've previously worked together at clubs. They know what they're getting from each other. So there's already a relationship between the recruitment team and the manager there. That's a massive plus for me. That's a huge plus for me, because this is a man that has provided him with players that has helped him in his system. So clearly the communication between the two of them is good and they translate to the pitch. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Which is why deep down, I said this yesterday, I feel like I'd be surprised. If Nagelsmann's not the next Chelsea manager. I'd be shocked. Like, I think it's basically done. It's just Nagelsmann's not going to come in now. It's going to be end of the season. I'd be surprised with Vival there, with Nkunku coming in as well. I just feel like it's more suited for Nagelsmann to come in, and that's what Chelsea probably want anyway. It's just a formality of getting that done and dusted, which, to be honest, I would love if that's announced ASAP. Just get it over the line, even if it means he comes in later, but get it over the line, man, because we need some sort of stability. The players need to know where they're headed. And right now, everyone's in the clouds, so...
I don't even think Nagelsmann wants to take the job now. And to be honest with you, if he's doing it to protect himself, I understand it. It's a little...
I get it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he had a bit more bravery, like what I'll say with Enrique, if the stuff was to be believed, the fact that he wanted to come in straight away, that takes some balls, mate. That takes some self-confidence as well to walk into a disaster ship like we have. So I can respect that about him big time. But Nagelsmann might want to buy this time. He might, you never know, he might be drawing up his plans for the preseason and looking to implement it during that time. But in terms of, I just want to address this real quick before I get to the super chat. Mamadou says, owners want yes man, still someone they can control. That's why Enrique is out. This is where I've slightly, well, I have to disagree. And there's a tweet from Lorenz. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought that he was a bit on point here. It's not about wanting the yes man. So the tweet says, Bowley and Egbali don't want a yes man. They want a manager whose views align with theirs and that of the hierarchy. Some managers' views will align, some won't. Maybe Enrique's didn't, but Nagelsmann's do. You can't demand the right manager, but then be annoyed the club don't want a manager who has different views to them. How would that work? How would that ever work for more than 18 months? Now, you see why I do agree with this is because we have to understand we've moved away from the model of giving the manager strictly what he wants. And Chelsea are not the only club that operate like this. In terms of transfers at Manchester City, Pep has Begiristan that he works with. Those two work together, right? There are players that Pep didn't ask for that have gone to Manchester City. These are facts. And this is what the recruitment is there for. Another case, Jurgen Klopp, he had Michael Edwards. Instead of Mo Salah, he wanted Julian Brandt. But Michael Edwards said, no, we're going to give you Mo Salah instead. A lot of people don't know that. You see what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily that it's a yes man. It's somebody that fits in with the model. So yeah, technically it is being a yes man in many senses that, you know, for some transfers, for some transfers you're not gonna necessarily ask for, but you're gonna have to work with anyway. But this is a model that's at a lot of clubs. It's not just at Chelsea. It's not exclusively at Chelsea. It's a model that is across a lot of the top clubs, how they're working now.
And this is where, with Luis Enrique, we still don't know the detail, but perhaps he wanted control over transfers and who he wants to bring in. Because when you look at Nagelsmann, and he said this historically, he said that, and I'm going to paraphrase here because I don't have the exact quote to hand. I read this earlier on this morning, but Nagelsmann did say that when you're looking to get players, he says he at Bayern Munich collaborates with the club, collaborates with Oliver Kahn, with a couple of the others that are on the board, and it's only right that they make a decision together, but ultimately the club has the final say because the players are the ones that last longer than the manager at these football clubs.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's already acknowledged that is definitely going to go down well with the Chelsea hierarchy, 100%, because they want the say over the transfers. I think they're happy to collaborate, obviously.
Yeah.
And ultimately, look, my point is we do need players that are versatile to adapt to any system or any philosophy, and they're not just so one way or very rigid in their abilities. Say, for example, they flourish when they play, you know, an offensive style of football, but they can't defend, right? You can't play at Chelsea then. You just can't. Has to be adaptable to any sort of system or philosophy, because if it doesn't work with a manager and we've got to get rid, we can't be in the same situation where we're then looking and going, okay, we need to get rid of half the squad because they don't fit the manager. We need to have, and look, I honestly think with JT and Lamps and Didier and all that, those are examples of players that were versatile. They can play defensive football, they can play offensive football, they can get stuck in when they have to, they can play very eloquent and beautiful champagne football when they have to. They had it all. They were very versatile under any manager, right? We need that. We absolutely need that because, yeah, it's true. Nowadays, especially, managers don't last more than 2 years. They just don't.
That's it. And
especially at Chelsea. The proof is this. And throughout the last 20, 25 years, right, the longest serving manager is still Jose Mourinho. 3.5 years. No one's beaten that. And and he's meant to be short term.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it's just the reality of football now. It's just the reality. So
I think Bayern Munich have swapped managers either at the same rate or maybe even more than us now. And they sign players regardless of the manager. Do you know what I mean? They don't always listen to what the manager says. They sign players because they know on average these managers last about 18 months at Bayern Munich. Doesn't matter who you are. But yeah, that's... For me, look, we're going to conclude the video. We're going to conclude the live. People, I haven't asked it all video. Smash the subscribe button if you are new to the platform. Help us get up to 20K. Smash that thumbs up as well. You get me? If you're new to the platform, welcome. Also, if you don't know who Younes is, then you're living on another planet or underneath a rock somewhere. But his link is in the description. Make sure you give him a follow. But let's make it loud and clear. Between Nagelsmann and Pochettino, who's your choice, and who do you think is favourite to get the Chelsea job?
Nagelsmann, hands down.
I have to agree. For me, it's Julian Nagelsmann, 100%. I would like to sit between him and Poch. It'll be Nagelsmann for me, but at the same time, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that Pochettino is not a good manager. I do think he's a good manager. I feel that he does have trophies in him, but the current setup at Chelsea, the way it is, the hierarchy and the way it's working, as of now, I don't know if it's going to be the most conducive for him and if he's going to be able to handle that with the whole Todd Bowley and Ed Barley consistently interrupting and things like that. It's a farce. Do you know what I mean? It's a farce. Go on.
Just to add, I feel like, at least with Nagelsmann, he does have some sort of leverage because he's got Christopher Vival there. And, you know, someone that is going to be, I'd say, very much on his side. Although on the flip side, you could say the same for Graham Potter with Win Stanley and Stewart, and they still threw him under the bus later on anyway. So I honestly think Nagelsmann is probably going to be better suited to what we have at the club. And overall, like I said at the start, Poch, if that appointment were to happen, there's going to be portions of the fan base that are just not going to accept it. They're just not going to accept it. They're going to be like, no. You know, the proper Chelsea lot are going to be like, you're having a bubble. We've lost our football club. Guaranteed, right? And can I blame them? No, not completely. As I said, for me, it's not much of an issue in terms of where managers have come from. That's their history, that's their careers, that's what they've done. Doesn't undermine them as a manager as far as I'm concerned. But Nagelsmann will come in and he'll definitely unify everybody. Everyone will be behind you, Nagelsmann, if he were to come in. So,
yeah. This is a good comment. I'm going to read this one. This is the last comment I'm going to read. This is from Cam. Big up yourself. I'll tell you what, Nagelsmann is waiting for the semi-final between City and Madrid. If Madrid is knocked out by City, Ancelotti will take over the Brazilian national team and Nagelsmann will go to Real Madrid.
I heard that. I remember that fear. And look, if that happens, we could be in trouble. At that point, I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah, let's hope for the best.
It seems like a lot of the focus has gone on to Nagelsmann and we've not nailed it down. So yeah, imagine if that were to not happen. Where do we go?
Well, listen, I'm hoping Christopher Vival can just say, listen, I know it's Real Madrid, but big man, I need your help. You're 35 years old. You've got a whole 30 plus years of management left. You can go to Real Madrid anytime you want, bro. Just come and help us out, Chelsea.
No, I'll tell you what, yeah. And if it happened, because you never know, but if it happened, if Carlo got chopped and Nagelsmann got taken by Madrid, we should be doing everything in our power to stop that move to Brazil.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
100%.
What's this? I would overpay.
Yeah, easily. It's Ancelotti.
Yeah, I'd overpay. I'd be
Easily.
like, listen, I will even pay you. I'll overpay you to get this done, bruv.
Yeah.
100%.
Completely. And do you think if Carlo were to come back, mate, I'm sure everyone would be buzzing. Everyone would be buzzing.
Don Rafa's saying that Nagelsmann's not good enough for Real Madrid. Well, he's turned them down once already.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
There you go. So they seem to think he's good enough for Real Madrid. So please believe that previous comment by Cam.
You have to understand, even with Real Madrid, they're enough in the same boat that we used to be at one point. Like, they've run out of managers. They've sacked everybody as well.
Yeah.
So they're going to be moving in that direction too. I feel like where, maybe a young lad comes in and we turn to something new, someone new, a new way of thinking. Yeah.
That's true. DHL says Ancelotti needs superstars. Not necessarily true, mate. Yeah, if you go back far enough, you look at some of the players he's developed. Some of them are the best to ever play. Do you remember a young lad called Kaka? Does anyone remember him?
What a baller Kaka was.
Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. When it comes to youth, well, there's no problem. Currently, he's got Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Vinicius, Rodrigo in his squad. He seems to be doing all right with them. Yeah, I mean, but Younes, what have you got coming up on your channel, or what have you already got uploaded on your platform that you would like the peoples to see?
No, so at the moment, obviously, there's no Chelsea up until Wednesday. No game on the weekend, which is a breathing space, so that's nice. So it's just keeping up the latest, and I think definitely will be content in regards to what's going on elsewhere. We reached the end of the season, so there's definitely things to talk about. There's, all sorts of the spectrum. So I'll be making sure that I talk about what's going on elsewhere, aside from Chelsea, alongside the Chelsea news as well. And we approach the Brentford game. I will give my thoughts in the lead up to that as well.
Okay, there you have it, people. Once again, smash that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. I will be back same time tomorrow with Matisse, so make sure you lock in for that. We'll be talking about this weekend's fixture, and I'll also be asking him his thoughts on the whole Nagelsmann and Pochettino situation. But you never know. By tomorrow, we might get an update, massive breaking news or something. Maybe a manager's been chosen, maybe not. But for me, Nagelsmann all the way. I also believe he is strong favourite for Chelsea manager right now. And unless Real Madrid or someone come knocking, I think we're in the clear to get him. So big up, everybody. Thank you very much for joining. And I will see you lot tomorrow. Bless up. And as always, Gareth Southgate, get out.
I missed that.